afternoon, class.
Good afternoon.
My name is Donald Clark. I've been with the fire service about 5 years. Today we're going to be lecturing on overhaul real quickly. Just to give you a layout of the building, we have exits to the front up here, should anything strange happen. We got bathrooms down here at the end of the hall. Use your according gender, if you will. So let's get started. Overhaul. What is it and why is it important? Okay, and simply put, overhaul is after the fire has been knocked down, we're checking for fire extension. So we're checking for more fire, making sure there's nothing smoldering or any hot spots that can potentially rekindle the fire. Often done with overhaul is salvaging. They're both done in conjunction, but that's a whole nother lesson. And also, for this lesson, you're going to refer back to chapter 18 of your firefighter. Go back. Pull the wrong one up here. Okay, yeah. Your firefighter skills, chapter 18, Jones and Bartlett, 2nd edition. Okay. So yeah. First thing you should consider, we already discussed, we're going to learn what overhaul is, why it's important, safety considerations, what materials we might need during overhaul, and we're going to do a little exercise with one of you, and we're going to use one of the tools that are often used in overhaul. So, safety considerations. Overhaul is strenuous work. You're going to be lifting, pushing, moving. It's already a fire environment, so that right there is enough to already have your adrenaline up. In other words, you're going to be tired after doing overhaul. Ideally, overhaul should be done by your second-in company. Because I mean, imagine going in, fighting the fire, putting it out, and then having to do the overhaul work as well. You're going to be spent. Yes, sir.
Do you ever get a break in between after you finish fighting the fire to start the overhaul?
Ideally, yes. You should. Your department should have rehab protocols in place that once one crew has been in for a certain length of time, they should come out, rehydrate, get their vital signs checked, and next in company should be in there doing whatever task there is, overhaul, be it search or whatever. Yeah, ideally, yes. Yes,
so
sir.
what do y'all usually rehydrate with? Like Gatorade, water? What do y'all drink?
Again, that's going to be dependent on different departments. Plain old water.
What about your department? What do you guys use?
Our department uses water.
Water.
Water, yes, sir. Okay. Any other questions? Okay. As I said, you're going to be tired after overhaul more often than not. The incident command should use a fresh crew. Something else to consider while doing overhaul is structural integrity. This building has been on fire. There could be burned out studs, trusses, anything. And could collapse on you, fall on you, walls could fall, ceilings could fall. You know that this building is compromised. You need to be aware of your surroundings at all times, and that's going to come down to, number one, your experience as a firefighter, number two, your incident command and your safety officer, all those working together to ensure that you are as safe as you can be while conducting overhaul.
But everybody on the scene is looking for structural integrity in the building.
Exactly. As that old adage, two sets of eyes is better than one.
So it's not just the chief on scene or the battalion on scene that's looking for that stuff. So basically what you're saying,
it's everybody's
job.
responsibility to remain safe. Number one priority on everything that we do, whether it be EMS, fire. They preach it in every class that you've taken this fire service, safety first. So it's your job to look out for you, not only yourself, but your peers as well. And one of those things, we do 360s on scene, your incident command should. and you reevaluate after a certain time throughout fire ground operations to make sure that everybody's being safe. Everybody should be known, it should be known should conditions change. So should you see something, let everybody know. Let your incident commander know, hey, Luke, check this out. Chief, look at this right here. I don't know if this is, you know, as I said, it's that old adage, 2 sets of eyes better than 1. Yes, sir.
So when I hear words, I'm that type of person. I gotta know exactly what you're talking about. When you say 360, like what do you mean?
You're gonna get a full view of the entire structure.
Oh,
From all sides.
Okay.
Checking it out, making sure that everything, that it's a stable structure, that it's viable for you to go inside, and there's limited risk. There's gonna be a fair amount of risk involved, but you wanna eliminate those risks by just looking at, using your eyes. Look at the structure. Now, that brings me to my next point. Visibility. It is a smoky environment, more often than not. You're gonna use things such as your positive pressure ventilation, use the fan to clear it out so you can see. But that's not always perfect situation. Sometimes it's just you're in there with your flashlight, it's crowded in there, the contents of the room, all those things contribute to your visibility and how you can maneuver inside the structure. So that's a safety concern. So you want to be aware of that.
Because you still got your, you know, SCBA and face mask and everything on during this overhaul.
Correct. Everything. And that brings me to we're going to go down the list of these bullet points here. As I said, it could be wet, and it's going to be wet. You're using water to put out fire. Watch your step. Exploding areas, bursting the flames. We're looking for possible explosions. We don't know what's in that building. You know, what the contents of. I recall being on the fire scene and doing overhaul, and we found a makeshift drug paraphernalia. It ended up being a meth lab. Now, we didn't know that going in, but it was a good thing we were wearing our PPE. Which brings me to the next point. You want to wear not some, not half, but all your PPE. That's SCBA, turnouts, gloves, the full gear.
What's PPE stand for?
That's personal protective equipment. You're going to want to wear that because, again, there's contents in here that could hurt you. Wear your helmet, things fall. Wear your SCBA, everything in there. There's so much, there's so many carcinogens in the products. This table here, it looks like wood, but it's not. You know, it could be any mix of different chemicals in this piece alone, all the different plastics, and that's just what we have to do. The reality of what we have to deal with today in the fire service.
Right.
You're gonna want to protect your lungs, so always wear your SCBA.
All right, mattresses and
Mattresses,
couches,
all these things. You don't know the process those were manufactured under. Most of them have chemical dyes, different products in them that, like I said, contain different carcinogens, and we don't want to breathe that stuff in. So you're going to want to wear full SCBA. And with that, I'm going to ask you all a question. And you've all been on the fire service for at least 2 years, 3 years, correct?
Correct.
How many of you have seen overhaul operations conducted with no SCBA?
All the time.
All the time.
As soon as fire gets knocked down, air pack, face piece go off.
Yeah, but I think the main reason that we do that is because some of the older guys,
Exactly.
they say, man, take that stuff off, ain't no fire in here. But we're being taught in class and in the academy and stuff that it's still stuff is active in the environment that we can get cancer from. I'm sorry, teacher. But yeah,
And
I don't want to seem like no quote unquote wuss.
And that's where you just got to use your head. I mean, yeah, there's a lot of things that were done back then that due to research and knowing better, we don't do now. There's also people that say just pull your Nomex over your nose and that's going to block the particulates. If you ever get a chance to walk around and after a fire, just shine your light and pay attention to all the little particulates in the air. And you think about that going into your lungs. And you think about whoever it is that you go home to, you think about how much they need you and how much you want to be there for them. And that should kill any of that old macho talker. We're going to go in here. Unfortunately, a lot of those same firemen are having issues past retirement. I don't know if any of you are aware, but this is one of the most dangerous jobs for cancer-related illnesses.
Mm.
Now, I still believe that heart attack is the #1 killer of firefighters, if I'm not mistaken, but cancer is right on up there with it. So you want to be smart, protect yourself, and be there for your loved ones. So, okay, moving on. Let's see here. Safety officer should be present. On the scene, you should have a safety officer present. And this is an important point to mention. You're going to have incident command. Most everyone is going to take their lead from their incident commander. Whatever the incident commander tells you to do, that's what you're going to be doing. The only time you should not wear your SCBA is when you have gotten the word from the safety officer that the air is clear. And that's after he has tested the air to ensure that it's safe for you to breathe in. That's the only time you should be in a structure during overhaul without an SCBA.
So what does the safety officer use to test the air? Is it like a Q-ray or something like that?
Now that is going to depend on your department.
Okay.
You know, we have different devices that test like the levels of oxygen, and they'll test like a Q-ray will test volatile contaminants in the air, but it's not going to cover everything. It's more so looking at
Carbon monoxide.
carbon, how much and how close we are to that threshold to of fresh air,
Gotcha.
of breathable air. Again, we discussed, now it says company officers, but really everybody should be looking around for potential hazards. Look for indicators of possible structural collapse. Indicators of structural collapse. Does anybody have any idea of a potential indicator that something could be at risk to collapse?
Cracking wood.
Cracking wood. Anybody else?
Alligator charring.
Alligator
Basics.
charring.
Trestles falling out the ceiling.
Trusses, exactly. Things like that you want to be on the lookout for, because everybody's in there working. As they're working, you never know. This person could be sidetracked. They could be so tunnel vision on the task at hand that they don't see that beam that's, like you said, it's been charred to bits and it's about to fall in their head. So you want to be looking for those indicators for collapse. Do not compromise the structural integrity of the building. Okay, and this is a big one. Because as firemen, we're known for tearing stuff up. You get in there, banging
That's our
around,
job.
but you have to do it in a controlled and planned way.
Gotcha.
Because buildings are designed to withstand the load of the building. The walls are designed to withstand loads. You get in there and you tear down a load-bearing wall, what does that do for the structure of the overall building? It weakens it, exactly. So is that a safe environment for you and your peers to be working after you just tore down this load-bearing wall?
That's not smart.
Probably not. So now you got to pull everybody out, and that halts overhaul operations. It says, IC may call for hydraulic overhaul or a fire watch. I'm going to touch on the fire watch. Now, the fire watch comes into play when you can't finish, or for some reason you can't complete overhaul operations. And that could be for a number of reasons. You could be in there and let's say it's something to do with a murder investigation or something like that. You know, they may ask you, hey, leave these, you know, areas untouched until we conduct our investigation. Manpower is limited. You can't have crews standing by waiting to, you know, put hands on stuff, so you might just have 1 or 2 guys, or place this building on fire watch with a maintenance person or somebody to ensure that, you know that this doesn't have fire coverage with alarms and whatnot. So that's just one example of, you know, fire watch. Okay. Again, if you want to reference any of this, Fundamentals of Firefighter Skills, 2nd edition, chapter 18. We're going to move on to the skills portion, and we're going to discuss opening ceilings. Now, why do you feel like it would be a good idea to open up a ceiling?
So let more light in?
Try to find the fire.
I like where you're going, but I'm looking for something else.
Okay.
Try to find the fire above
Try
the
to-
ceiling.
You could try to find the fire, anything else. We're thinking overhaul procedures though. Fire's been found.
Okay.
Remember, if the fire's not down, again, I mean, I guess you could be looking for the hot spots, because when we go in, you're gonna see smoke. Smoke is gonna be a good indicator, and you're gonna see smoke lines on the walls, on the ceilings. It's gonna be a good indicator to determine places to look where you might find fire hidden in lee walls, fire hidden in ceilings, knee walls, excuse me, and fire hidden in the ceiling, different areas, attics. Look for the smoke. So yeah, I mean, yeah, you could open it to get a better view, to find those hot spots. I didn't say this before, but we were going to discuss, as I said, materials, what materials we're going to use for this, and this is where we're getting into this. Pike poles, and we're thinking hardware here. Pike poles are good tool to have. You can take in a Halligan tool. We have the drywall cutter tools. Plaster hook, there you go. We have sledgehammer, axe, pickhead axe, shovels, salvage tub. All these things can be used during overhaul. Probably the most important thing though, what would you think it would be?
I would probably say probably the salvage tub, because if you see something smoldering still on fire, you can put it right in there.
I like where you're going,
Okay.
but your key word there was fire. When
Okay.
we see fire, what do we need?
Put water on it. We need a
There you
hose
go.
so we
Yeah.
have fire.
Charge hose line is required for overhaul. Because that's what we're looking for, right? We're looking for fire extension. We don't want to have to come back to this structure later after we've already left and cleared it and said that it was okay, no fire danger. We go off and we have to come back because we didn't do a good job with overhaul. Yes, sir.
I can't think of it. What's the proper term for that?
Rekindle?
When that happens, it's called a rekindle.
Okay.
And if you've been on the fire service long enough, you know that's basically like a curse word. You don't want that behind you. Your lieutenant doesn't want it. Privates don't want it.
Get some days off.
It's very, very bad situation for you if you get a rekindle. And that's why overhaul is so important. When you go into a structure, we're there to preserve life and property. We're not doing a very good job of preserving property if we're telling people that, okay, this stuff is no longer burning, and then we go off and then we're burning more of the stuff after we've told them, you know. So then it's on us then. As I was saying, pike poles, or as I was saying, the different types of tools you're gonna use during overhaul. And we're focused on this activity of open ceilings. Most residential ceilings, you're not gonna need the longest pole on the truck. everybody has seen it. You've seen a guy walking into a little bit of shoebox house, and he grabs the 24-foot pipe pole, and he's knocking everybody down. You don't want to be that guy. Get the appropriate size pole for the job that you're doing. Okay, when handling the pipe pole, you want to, first off, the tool itself, it's a point, I'll just show it here.
You want
Okay.
some gloves with that?
When you're handling this in your work environment, you're going to wear, of course, full PPE. But for the purposes of this demonstration, I'm just going to go over the pipe pole itself. First off, this is a blunt instrument, so, you want to keep the business end away from your peers, point it down if you're walking with it. Look around, make sure you got your helmet on, you got your face piece on. It's easy to get, it's blind spots in your vision. It's easy to knock this person down, that person down. Pay attention to what you're doing, basically. So, when you're holding the pipe pole, you're going to pull ceiling. You're going to face the hook side and the tip away from your body and pull down the ceiling away from your body. Also, pulling down whatever you're pulling, whatever portion of the ceiling down, you want to make sure that you're pulling it down away from your points of egress. Don't pull it down right in the doorway and then you got to step on all that ceiling just to get out. Go ahead and pull down any insulation or any other fiberglass or whatever else you see as well. And that's another good point for your SCBA, because insulation, contents like that, they have those little particles, little fiberglass particles. That's stuff you don't want to breathe in.
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
How effective is this tool with tongue and groove sealing?
This tool is not going to be your best friend when it comes to tongue and groove sealing.
Okay.
It would take a great deal of force to get one of these through the tongue and groove. So, you might want to look to other forms of penetrating that, or just look for something else altogether. Oftentimes, when you're in an environment where things are moving fast, that whole getting through the tongue and groove sealing, most of the time we just abandon that altogether and we just go with something else.
Gotcha.
All right. Using a strong upward thrust, so you're going to be thrusting up into the ceiling and pulling, as I said, down and away from your body. You don't want to pull it down on your head or anybody working beside you. Make sure it's clear. Make sure you got the right area. Most of the time, your lieutenant or company officer is going to tell you which area they won't pull down. It's overhaul, so it's not as go as in fire operation. There is a little time to kind of step back and take a look at things. So you don't have to feel like you're in a huge rush to get this ceiling down. Go in there, hey Lou, where you need me? I need you over there, okay? I take my instrument, I'm making sure that I got it pointed down, away from any of my peers. I find the spot that he wants me to be at, and I go to work. Pulling the ceiling. Upward motion, rushing down. It's going to stab with the point, pull with your hook. You can also turn it, and that will, to make your cuts, either going left, turn the pole again, go right, and you're pulling down. The easiest thing, especially when you have drywall, like this is, these are tiles, so it wouldn't be applicable to this situation, but you got a whole drywall ceiling and you need to cut down a big chunk of ceiling. You're just gonna take your pipe hole, and you're just gonna go around and make a cutout basically with your pipe hole. And all of it should come down. Okay. Lastly, I'm gonna let one of you come and just demonstrate. If I have any volunteers, just demonstrate.
I volunteer.
All right. Like I said, first off, it's a pike pole. It's not a karate whip.
Okay.
So, what's your dominant hand?
This is my dominant hand.
Okay. Turn the pike pole with the working end facing the ceiling.
Okay.
Okay. That's a good grip right there.
Okay.
Now, remember, you're gonna go up into the ceiling, penetrate with the point,
Okay.
pull down with the hook.
So,
And it's gonna be like a sawing motion, just up and down till you, there you go.
and then down and away.
There you go, push it away.
Okay. So,
Check your surroundings, make sure you're not knocking anybody over the head with it behind you,
okay.
and you're good.
Just like that.
Okay, got it.
Cool.
All right. Last but not least, we're gonna do a quiz. I'm gonna pass this out after the presentation, real quick. See how you guys are paying attention. I'm gonna ask you a couple of questions. Who can determine if it's safe to not use a SCBA in a fireground? Who?
Safety officer.
Safety officer. Okay. What other form of, we didn't talk about it much, but we did touch on it. What other form of fire operations or fire techniques can be used in conjunction with overhaul?
Salvage.
Bingo, there you go. All right, guys. Appreciate your time.
So, do we use salvage covers at all in salvage overhaul?
You can, yes.
Okay.
That's why I said they're salvage. When you think salvage, think save. We're trying to save what we can of this person's belongings, this building's belongings. So yeah, we use salvage covers and various tools to salvage what we can from the fire.